friends, Zoey here. I hope you're having an amazing day today. Today I've got a very beautiful story time to share with you. So without further ado, let's get started. So today's video is all about a miracle that I've recently received in my life that I just feel compelled to share with all of you. I feel like it could illuminate some things on your personal journey and just open you up to the idea of miracles and how miracles can happen every single day. And the more and more open that we are, the more and more that we believe in the magic of this world, we will receive that. So I'm really excited to share this with you. It's been huge, it's been profound, it's been incredible in my personal life, and I'm excited to share. Before we get into that, I want to give a big thank you to Ana Luisa for sponsoring this video. As you guys know, I partner with Ana Luisa often because they are a sustainable jewelry company that is very much aligned with me. I wear their jewelry every single day, all different pieces. I'm wearing their pieces right now. I've got on a sun necklace with matching sun earrings, got on my abundance necklace, I call it, and some beautiful pieces in my ear. A new one which I have received, which is like an ear huggy. So instead of this isn't really a piercing. I haven't gotten my ear pierced here, but I've got this cute little cuff that I can just put on and just decorate the ear. A little bit nervous to get pierced right there. I'm not sure if it hurts or not, but that's what I love, that Ana Luisa has such a variety of beautiful pieces that are all sustainable. For February, for Valentine's Day, they have a special, which is buy one, get one, 40% off. So if you feel like you want to treat yourself to a piece that you love or someone in your life, buy one, get one, 40% off. This is an amazing special, so I'll be leaving a special link down below for you guys to check that out. As you know, I love to stack the Ana Luisa pieces. I've had a lot of these pieces for quite some time now, and even living in Bali, which is quite humid, these pieces have not tarnished. They have remained intact. They've remained glowing and beautiful and shiny, and they're so fun to like layer, especially in the ears. I had definitely had fun today layering these up for this video to show you, and as well as the necklaces. So it is a perfect gift idea for anyone in your life, and prices begin at $30. So there's a different range of jewelry pieces that you can get. There's definitely something on Ana Luisa's website for everyone. So I encourage you to check that out, and the special link and everything needed to get you that special discount will be linked below. Now let's get into today's story time, which is all about a miracle that I've recently received in my life. Miracles are real, and I just encourage you, as you're listening to this video, be open to any awarenesses, any reflections that might come to mind as I share this with you. This is a personal story from my life, and so there's definitely personal and vulnerable aspects to it. So I just ask that you keep an open mind, as my intention and my desire to share is solely so that you can have realizations and you can experience maybe some shifts or some eye-opening or mind-opening things. So yeah, let's get into it. So my intention in moving to Bali was to really be embodied, so to really begin to deepen the relationship I have with my body. I have been someone who was just always up in the clouds, always up in the stars to some extent, a lot of Vata energy if you guys are familiar with Ayurveda. And my experience upon moving here, right, with setting that intention naturally has triggered a bridge of incidents in the world of manifestation and intention setting. So a bridge of incidents is basically from the time that you set an intention, it's all these different situations or scenarios that might happen that lead you towards your end goal or your end result, or the situation, the thing being made manifest. And oftentimes our bridge of incidents does not look like as we want it to. And examples for me moving to Bali and tending to get more in tune with my body, that resulted in the first thing that sort of happened to me injury-wise was slipping like outside of the villa that I was living in, like this weird fall. It was definitely sort of a divine intervention, and I scraped my knee. Shortly after that, I ended up getting a severe ringworm infection on my legs. and it was spreading, and I told you guys, I shared that that's how I received the call to begin to work with Campbell, and then I cleared the ringworm. But all of this was very confronting to me because I'd never experienced any sort of like ailment of the skin or anything manifesting itself on the body. I mean, knock on wood, I've been extremely lucky my entire life. I've broken my baby toe, but other than that, my bones have been lucky, and I've been very, very lucky health-wise my entire life. So this was very confronting. It allowed me to essentially do deeper work on my relationship to my body and the connection that mind, body, spirit has. So of course, each of these physical ailments that started to present themselves came with deep lessons of learning to nurture myself, learning to answer to the body, not what the mind wants. My mind has always been so focused on productivity and go, 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 and hustle and just like push through and be in survival mode essentially. And since I got to Bali, it's been very much forcing me into the opposite. Forcing me into relaxing, forcing me into nurturing the body, mothering the self. And if we're moving on in the timeline of this bridge of incidents, I also got into a scooter accident. I also had to get stitches on my leg. I've had some weird falls happen. And it's all Mama Bali and divine intervention. Like I said, these triggering of events that lead me to be embodied, more connected to my body than ever before. And one thing that's always been in my life as sort of a physical ailment I've just sort of had ignored was my scoliosis. So for those of you who aren't familiar, scoliosis is when there is a curvature of the spine. This is quite common, especially in women as they are going through their teenage years. And I had scoliosis. And there had been times in my life, like in high school and even after that, where I would have to go see a practitioner about my back because it got to this point where it was so painful that I couldn't push through and ignore it. These times were rare, but I also think perhaps they were rare because I made them rare, because I always pushed through, I always persevered, I always sort of suppressed the pain and the discomfort that I was feeling in order to just continue sitting at my desk, continue doing my work, and just really lacking that connection to my body and the temple that it is. After I got in this scooter accident, and I had fallen a couple of times, I knew that I needed to see an osteopath because my wrists were clicking. As I was mentioning, there were times in my life where I would seek out practitioners, and every single practitioner who I saw for the most part told me that my spine was unfixable, that I was deformed, that my bones were deformed, and I wasn't ever going to be able to heal my scoliosis. Sure, they could crack and shift some things back into place, but I would never be even. I would always be crooked, or I would have to like get used to this. So that messaging definitely allowed me to suppress, right, even easier in those times, because I'm like, well, nobody can fix it, so I don't really care to really dive into this. But as I began to deepen my relationship with my body, as these physical ailments started to show up, I started to believe in more possibilities. And when I saw this osteopath about my wrist, I just asked her, you know, do you mind looking at my back? Because my back, I have scoliosis, and is there anything that you think that you can do? So she took a look at my back and she's like, I believe that we can fix this. And that was the first time in my life where someone, a practitioner, really was willing to do the work with me, as I was finally willing to do the work. Like I said, I would always do the bare minimum when it came to my back, when it came to my scoliosis, because it was just easy to suppress. It was easy to just move on. I knew that it was expensive to fix my back, or I knew that it, like these practitioners, the chiropractors and whatnot, that definitely adds up, especially when someone says we can only do a little bit of work at a time and not shock your body or not shock your system. This needs to be some work over time. So since September, I have been working with an osteopath. Her name is Arielle. She works at Bali Natural Healing here in Canggu. For any of you who might be in Bali or come here and would love to see her, she's incredible. So I started working with her. I started working with very specific masseuses to really move out trauma in my back. And that's also something that I want to say, this body work is is extremely healing, but it is very painful. Healing my scoliosis over the past 4 months has been the most physical pain I have ever endured in my entire life. Because when somebody's shifting your bones around, when somebody's like pressing out suppressed emotions and trauma and tightness and frozen tendons in the back, without painkillers of any kind, like that is deeply painful. So oftentimes that's me lying on the massage bed or lying on the table, crying, releasing all sorts of emotions, and then having to rest for the rest of the day because it literally has taken so much out of me to heal it. But like I said, it was finally at this place to do the work and really understand the connection that we all have that's accessible to our bodies. You know, I'm sure some of you may have heard that the subconscious mind is the body is the subconscious mind. Think about it, your subconscious mind is the one that tells the heart to pump blood, tells the skin to heal itself when you get cut. It encourages the body to breathe, right? We can consciously connect with, for example, our breath, but other things like healing the skin, that is the divine power that this temple is, right? And so I was finally giving my body the opportunity to really show me what it can do and work with it, right? Really, really deepen that relationship and understand that if the body has the power to heal itself, let it. And this subconscious mind, anything that might be lodged in there, in doing the body work and deciding to get that out, it was like I was being confronted with, let's say, different demons or different patterns or different stories, or having to sit with suppressed memories of trauma in my life. And if you're interested in this sort of connection with the subconscious mind and the body and physical ailments or injuries or things or different sicknesses, even illnesses, disease, meaning different things in the body, I definitely recommend this book called Metaphysical Anatomy. It really dives into the connection to different things surfacing in your body. As I shared in my Campbell video, when I received that outbreak of ringworm on my leg, fungal infections of the skin are actually related to the mother wound. And different sides of the body can also mean feminine and masculine. So I decided then, you know, with everything I was coming to learn about healing, when I really started to dig into this work around scoliosis, understanding the metaphysical anatomy of that means understanding that scoliosis is essentially the manifestation of a belief system that you are not supported by source. When I started to really uncover that, when I started to release the trauma that was locked in my back literally, I started to realize that, yeah, I have had this sort of innate belief that's been a part of my life that I'm not supported by source, or I'm only supported to an extent, or that life is hard and I have to muscle through, I have to be in survival mode in order for it to work. I've never given myself the opportunity to relax because I've always been in survival mode since I was a child. My nervous system has always been programmed to basically go, go, go in fight or flight to survive. And I'm sharing this with you today because I am certain that there are many of you out there who have also experienced the same, especially if you've had childhood trauma. And so, there's just been so much healing that's been done in doing this work on my back. And so at the end of December, right, 4 months after I've been consistently doing this work, and I've also paired it with doing yoga each morning and doing scoliosis exercises, and float tanks have also been very helpful. So there are a few other things I added in the mix that were really supporting the body in this healing process. But what ended up happening was at the end of December, Ari, my osteopath, told me like I had straightened my spine. I had done it. The spine, which was in a curvature, which so many practitioners before said I couldn't fix, was straightened. And I felt more proud, more empowered, more in my body than ever before in this time. So that in itself is one miracle, but I'm getting into it even more of a miracle soon, so stay tuned. But so that in itself was a miracle. That really showed me that, you know, people might tell you all sorts of different things, doctors or practitioners, but what is the story that you want to tell yourself? What is the belief that you want to have? Or what is it that you want to heal? And just start tuning into the body. Start tuning into what messages the body might be communicating with you in order to help you heal. So finally, in healing my spine, I really felt like I truly did feel into feeling supported by Source unconditionally. I thought, wow, this is a miracle, and I'm so, so grateful for it. Ari actually went on holiday for 3 weeks at the end of December, so that was the longest point in time of which I hadn't or wouldn't be able to see her. Normally I was seeing her once a week, and then it shifted to every 2 weeks as I started to improve. And so I wasn't seeing her for 3 weeks. I felt amazing this entire time, but then I actually got sick. I got Bali belly, which is sort of a food poisoning. That took me out for about 4 days, like completely wiped me out. But what was beautiful in that process was that I just took it as like a healing, like a cleansing. It was very clear to me that I was just like purging a lot, and there's a lot of sort of emotions, a lot of suppressed childhood memories that were coming up, and I just really used that time to nurture, to take care of myself, to really rest even more before the new year. And what's interesting is that just after I healed from Bali belly, all of a sudden had my neck and my back seize. It was incredibly painful. I had a migraine that took me out for 2.5 days where I literally couldn't do anything. When I was standing up, my vision would go. Like, I've never had that experience before. There was just this intense pain in my back, and I actually wasn't at home. I had gone away for New Year's. The pain was more intense than anything I'd felt before. And when I got back to Canggu, that's where I live, I called one of the healers who had been working on my back, and he came over and he worked on my back on the table when I was lying there getting like work done intensely. I cried and cried and cried, and I had all of these, like, as he was working through these points in my back, he said I froze a tendon and was working through that. I cried deeper than I feel like I've ever cried before, and all the things that were coming to my mind was just childhood related, like mother related, all this trauma that I've experienced. It was very clear to me in that moment that I was really seeing the depth of how my childhood trauma was locked in my back, and how naturally like my back would have seized if like the next bout of healing was showing up. So I cried and cried and cried, and then I felt better after that. But then I went to go see Ari later that week, and she asked me like, what did you do? And I said, you know, I feel like I've been good. I've still been exercising, doing yoga every morning. I did have a bout of Bali belly, and then I had a migraine, so I was in bed for a few days. But then she's like, because your spine went back to being curved again. I can't even tell you guys how devastating it was to hear that, because I've done this work resiliently, I feel like, over the last 4 months. Like I said, it had been extremely painful. It's definitely costed me a lot of money. It's been my priority. My body has essentially been my priority for the first time in my life, and my body definitely deserved to be priority sooner than this. But what I'm saying is that I literally was like putting my all into this healing for the last 4 months. And so to find out that I had regressed 4 months worth of work in just 3 weeks by doing something was very upsetting to me. And the thing that Ari told me was that she said, you didn't do anything physically. Your sacrum's not out of place. I can tell that like you've been doing everything that you've regularly been doing, but what's occurred in your back is all emotional, because your muscles have gone back to the place they were before, and they've tightened back that muscle memory of trauma. The spine has got a curvature to it again. So she said, what happened in the last 3 weeks that really triggered this or really spiraled this? And this is where I'm gonna start getting like pretty vulnerable with you guys. So the only thing that I could pinpoint it to was that this fundamental belief system of not feeling supported by Source started to show up again. And I don't really know how it happened, because I was definitely feeling like really positive, really empowered about my back. Even when I had food poisoning, it was okay. But if I'm being totally honest, like Christmas time, holiday time is a time in my life in which I have experienced a lot of trauma related to my mother. And yeah, I feel like it's hard for me to even talk about this, because I'm almost positive that she's probably gonna watch this video, and that's my truth. So I definitely just feel like sharing it will be helpful for any of you out there. So I think that the subconscious was bringing up previous years of trauma around this time, and the body is very intelligent, so I feel like my mind, my spirit knew that I was in a place of inner strength. It was time to experience the next level of healing. Because I was so devastated, it almost allowed me to be driven to like get to the root of this more than ever before. So I dove into not feeling supported by source, and of course I found myself at the mother wound again, because we're always coming back to the same things, but with different lenses and different awarenesses, and stronger than ever before. So yes, I came back to the mother wound again, and yes, I was clearing out memories, and a lot of you have had questions in the comments like, oh, you've gone and done ayahuasca, like why aren't you healed yet? Why are you still like crying in this video if you've done all this work? We're always on this journey of healing. We come to planet Earth in order to evolve our souls, evolve our spirit, and we all signed up for different things, and I feel like my soul definitely signed up for a lot, but I'm willing to do the work, and even in this video, willing to share it with you to hope to spark those awakenings and awarenesses. I do feel like this is connected to my life's purpose. So yeah, I went to work on this emotionally, and there was one night where I got to this place of a next level of love and forgiveness for my mother. So I ended up reaching out to her, and I told her that I loved her and I forgave her, and I thanked her for giving me life. And it was in not being able to be received by her that I realized my capacity and my inner strength to receive and deeply love myself more than ever before. And that in itself was such a beautiful gift to receive, to give myself, was seeing that, you know what, you can love yourself more than ever before, and you do love yourself more than ever before, and you've got yourself more than you ever got yourself before. You are strong, you are resilient. Look at this kind of beautiful connection you've built with your body over the last 8 months. Look what you've done in moving to Bali this past year. I was really able to see how powerful and how worthy I was for everything that I desire in my life. So again, coming back to this bridge of incidents, it's not always what we think it's going to look like. It's not always going to be good incidences that happen that lead us to this goal, but it's always exactly what we need. It's kind of how plant medicine works too. You don't get what you want, you get what you need, and in that way, healing happens. Profound healing happens. I also did Campbell in this week, and I got my friend Jade, who's also a practitioner, to serve me because I couldn't serve myself on these points, but I put a point on each chakra on the back of my spine, and I used the governing meridian. So this is all about moving forward and standing in your power, and I said, you know what, let's just literally light up my back, and my intention is to just like release any past trauma that's stored in my back, like whatever needs to be released here, like let's go to that place. So I had a very powerful Campbell ceremony where I intentionally released so much. I had a lot of conscious purging with me, which means that even though Campbell's not a psychedelic, my intuition was fully there letting me know what was being let go of, and it was just a lot of crying, a lot of suppressed sadness and trauma from my childhood. It was literally like I was purging my childhood trauma. And that's often how it is in plant medicine ceremonies as well, as just like we're all releasing childhood. After that, that happened on Tuesday, and then on Wednesday, I was my appointment to go see Arielle again. And what ended up happening is that night of Campbell, this is actually, the time in which I spoke to my mother and saw that she could not receive me, experienced that, and I ended up crying all night. I cried all night, couldn't really sleep, and my back and my neck had seized, and I had a pinched nerve in my neck, so I was in the most excruciating pain that I've been in, like, in my life. It just felt like everything was getting worse, but often things get worse before they can get better. And so I was in the most pain. I'm telling you, like, my neck was stuck like this. I could barely move. It was like night, so I couldn't see anyone until the morning. And I could barely get out of my bed. I couldn't move like this arm. In order to get out of my bed, I had to like fling my body over. That was really painful in itself. But what ended up happening is like 4 in the morning, I was still up, I was still crying, and I just felt like I needed to call my dad and my stepmom, and I needed to tell them what happened. Because I feel like there's also this aspect or dimension of myself that I had become very present to, that I always tried to hide my emotions from my dad and my stepmom because I didn't want them to worry about me. But it was this time in which I really just needed them. I really just needed to cry and actually be received by someone, because I, again, had understood that like I've got me better than I've had me, but I also need to open up and connect more deeply with my parents about this, my dad and my stepmom. So I called them and I just cried, and they heard me, they saw me, they consoled me. And it was in this moment that I feel like I was able to receive more love than I had ever received before, because like I said, I'd always wanted to protect people from my emotions, or protect people and not ask for help when I needed it. I have had such a difficult time in my life asking for help. The resilient, the independent spirit is amazing, but sometimes it also can, I find, cut you off from deeper connections with people. So I called my parents and talked to them for like an hour, and I had one of the most healing conversations that I ever had with them. And it wouldn't have been possible if I didn't open up this sort of can of worms and reaching out to my mom, and you know, my back seizing and my neck. So I went to go see Ari that following day, and although my neck was like tight and kinked, she said, "What did you do?" And I was like, honestly, Ari, I don't even know. I tried to do all the emotional work that I could do. And what she said was, "Because your spine went back to being straight." And I, in that moment, was so proud of myself. I felt so strong. I still do feel so strong, because it really proved to me to a new level how powerful I am, but also how connected I am to my body now more than ever before. That I really decided to go to work on the emotional aspect, like the metaphysical anatomy of what was showing up in my body. And I went to the root of it, and I was like, I'm pulling this out. I'm gonna get to these levels and layers, and I am going to make my spine straight again. And I believed in miracles. I opened myself up to the possibility that I could straighten my spine sooner than expected. I didn't expect it to happen in a week. I thought maybe I could do this in a month or two versus 4 months, but it happened in a week. And that was it. It was just me going to work with the different modalities that I knew, receiving massage, doing Campbell with intention, coming to this place of forgiveness, and just doing whatever I could, putting myself into that zone of discomfort in order to release what the discomfort has been in my body. And so I received a miracle. My spine, which I'm telling you, my entire life, my entire upbringing, I've just heard that I was deformed, told that I would never be able to walk straight, or that I would always feel like I was walking crooked, and that I would always have like an S shape. I've had not just practitioners comment on it, but people in my life. Finally, I decided to do the work and believe in myself and love myself, and really understand that I'm worthy of miracles, and we all are worthy of miracles, and miracles can happen every day. And that's really what I wanted to highlight in this video. Thanks for listening to this long story time, but I know that there was aspects in this, whether it's connecting more deeply to the body, whether it's really just going all in and prioritizing your connection to yourself and what you need. And just, sorry, now it's raining outside in Bali. Mom and Bali is coming in for some cleansing, so I hope that it's not too loud, but I'll wrap this up really quick here. But yeah, I hope that this video brought you what you need, and if there's any message that I really just want to relay to you, it's that miracles are possible, and you yourself are a miracle. The day that you were born was the day that the universe decided it could not live another day without you, without the miracle that you are. So now I'm getting emotional, because I want each and every one of you listening or watching this video to know how special you are, to know how powerful you are, how powerful your body is, and how it has the power to heal itself. Anyways, thanks for listening to the story time. I really love you guys, and thanks again to Anna Louisa for sponsoring this video. With Valentine's coming up, if you feel like you want to treat yourself to a piece that you love, or someone in your life that you love, remember that there is buy one, get one, 40% off. So happy to have you in my community.